Welcome. I am here with Matt Going, who is the CEO of Anytime Mailbox. And Matt has been on the Flex Uncensored podcast. He was on episode number 25. Thank you for joining us. And Anytime Mailbox, I have a lot of fans. Anytime Mailbox generates a lot of revenue. And not only that, for some of our members and our startup school folks who get into the business and ramp up their mail program, and also gives them a great tool to manage mail for their members. So we're not specifically talking about that today, but I just wanted to we kind of are. There's some overlap. I wanted to give some context and a thank you because some of our members started saying, hey, there are some updates to, the requirements if you're a CMRA. And Matt had come to me months ago and said, hey, this is happening. And you're kind of a subject matter expert and, kind of get invited to these conversations. So you're like, we got to keep an eyeball on this. And so I emailed Matt and I said, is it time? And he's like, yes, it's definitely time. We need to talk about this. So
it is. Yes.
Here we are. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no, again, I'm happy and grateful for the invitation. Always good to see you. And it is, mail is I think, I guess selfishly, but I know it to be true because I started the business because I was a virtual office customer for a couple of different locations. And I was very frustrated with the level of service provided around mail. And so that's how my business partner, Marcel Buki, and I started the business. We were like, this is like, got to get better. I mean, this is critical. And so we've been able to launch this business. And I will say we are 3 weeks away from celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So we're very, very excited about that. I know, wild. So mail is a critical piece of the flex space model. I wouldn't say in my mind, I think that it just is one of the key reasons that folks are ordering or signing up to become a customer is because they need an address, right? That is it. And so
it's super critical. Wait, can I tell you that? I mentioned I'm in Truckee this week. The U.S. Postal Service does not deliver to, we don't get service. I don't exactly know why that is, but it's on one hand, it's like kind of awesome. We don't get mail, but there's no junk mail. On the other hand, I try to order some Bombas socks and they must use the Postal Service. So my socks did not arrive. And I certainly cannot get business mail, at my house. So that's kind of a weird example, but I do think now more than ever, people can live wherever they want, work from home, and you don't want to use your home address. And, and there's a lot of reasons people might need a business address, but I think more than ever, right? So it's an important service to focus on and make sure we're getting it right.
It's not sexy, but it's critical. It's a key infrastructure piece for any small business, any business, and certainly these solopreneurs, entrepreneurs who are, oftentimes the core customer for the flex space facilities, and you got to do a good job with it. So let me jump in. The USPS for a very long time, since really I got into the business, so maybe going on 10 years, has been looking at ways to upgrade and update what I will call ID verification of anyone using a third party to manage their mail. That's how I think about it. So in our vernacular, the Anytime Mailbox vernacular, all the flex operators are operators, and the folks receiving the mail are renters. Okay, that's what we call them. So we can differentiate customers. And so the process has been, first off, an operator needs to be an approved CMRA, okay, a commercial mail receiving agent. And up until these rule changes, which were published, so let me just say that first. So these rule changes were published on May 19th. The final rule changes, there's sort of a lot of back and forth about what was coming from the USPS, but they were published. The final rules were published on May 19th. And the rules are in effect as of July 9th, which was early this month, okay? Yep. So they are in place. The USPS recognizes that this is kind of a big deal. They've been doing some beta testing with CMRAs to see how the new process works, which I'll get into. And there's some improvements that need to be done there. the USPS recognized that this is going to be a process, and so there's also a 30-day cure period. If your local postmaster ever came in and said you're not doing this, and I'm going to shut your mail off, which by the way is a risk. I think they're being very open-minded. They get that this is a big process. So in any event, if you, Jamie, I could send you a link if you don't have it of the rules, the final rules that are out there, and there's a bunch of kind of Q&A in there too that's valuable, and it's not a long read, it's a 15-20 minute read. So let me know if you want me to follow up on that. You can publish that. So anyway, there was, for a long period of time, there was a gray area as to whether or not your industry even needed to be listed as a CMRA, and many operators did not say, I don't need to go through that. There's this, I don't have so many physical offices, so it doesn't really matter. I kind of check the box on that. Do you recall that, or there was some variation on that, or uncertainty, and people were trying to work the system? Anyway, there's no more working the system. If all flex operators, I mean, I'll quote, an office business center, OBC, that provides private office facilities for others and receives single point mail delivery from the Postal Service must become an approved CMRA now, right? So I think there's zero gray area. If you're receiving any mail for any third party, whether they're even in a private, only if you only have physical customers, not virtuals, you still need to become a CMRA. And so there's a document you can find with the USPS that fill out. You have to have that notarized, and you have to submit that to the USPS locally. And some post offices are more up to speed on this stuff than others. They may say, yep, great, got it. Others may say, I don't even know what that is. It doesn't matter. You have to go through the process and get it submitted.
Yeah, and
this is all about
really quickly. We're not here to talk about that, but I just have to mention, because this comes up all the time. It may be that you have to ask for a manager, and I know the post office can be very challenging, but I often find that it's the managers who know what the form is, and I have operators who have to show up when the manager's going to be there. They might have to wait for the manager's lunch break to be over. You have to find the right person, and that may not be easy. You might ask another operator in your market how they got it done. It's challenging, but to your point, you have to do it. And I love your emphasis on, even if you're not managing mail for virtual customers, even if they're physical. Yeah,
you have to do it. And the risk is you're risking mail being delivered to your location. If you don't follow the rules, eventually they would just stop delivering it, or they can just hold it back for a period of time until you meet the requirements. So you want to just be careful, and you just have to get it done. Okay, so that's sort of the big point number one. The other point is they've changed the 1583 document itself. There had been no change in that for quite a long time, well over a decade, and so that has now been updated. So there's a new form. The changes aren't super meaningful, but you need to know that there is a new form that needs to be filled out and notarized and submitted to the USPS.
And is that retroactive, or is it for new customers going forward?
Yeah. Now we get into the kind of ugly, nasty, difficult side. So
no, I was just trying to picture, okay, what are people going to ask that I forgot to ask Matt? So
yep. No, and I've got this coming right up. So
okay.
So the form, so all new customers as of July 9th need to be submitting this form. So as an example, we provide a pre-populated form. When someone signs up for services on our site, we pre-populate that form and then send it off to the operator for approval. We are now using the new form for that. And so all forms have to be uploaded by the operator, so the Flex operator, onto a database provided by the USPS. It's the CRD, the Customer Registration Database. And this is a one-at-a-time upload. There is no API yet. There's no way to avoid literally a one-at-a-time upload both the notarized 1583 along with 2 forms of ID onto the platform. And the documents do not need to be notarized.
Okay.
if you are on site and you see the person. So one of your staff members can sort of sign the 1583 and along with the two IDs and say, yes, I verify this person's ID, and then upload it. So not everyone, if a staff member can verify the person's ID, and that sort of stands as okay. It's these the remote ones really that need to be notarized.
Okay.
Okay. So they all need to be uploaded. So the rub and difficulty is all previous customers, all existing customers who had a 1583 submitted, you have to submit a new one. You have to updated form along with two IDs. Ugh, right? That's everyone's groaning about that. I get the point here. You know, we wish the USPS had an API. We've looked at building tools, and we still may do that to make the process easier for everybody, including ourselves. And they're just not there yet. They're trying to. I mean, this is about, you know, I mean, people can. There are a lot of bad actors out there who can use these addresses for bad things, and the USPS is trying to get up to speed on tools to make that process smoother. But right now, the tools are just not that great. Okay, so you're going to have to go back to all of your existing customers, even if they've never filled out a 1583. By the way, so these are physical office customers. Get the 1583 filled out, signed on site, notarized if not, and then upload along with the two forms of ID.
And it looks like there's a 9-month grace period to make that happen.
That's exactly right. That's what I was going to get to. There's a 9-month grace
Okay.
period to make that happen. So there's time. So I would just say start working on it now and getting your ducks in a row for a process to get that done. The USPS is supposed to, or they have to reach out to you and say this is happening. So it's that's sort of when the clock starts ticking of, oh, by the way, this has happened and you need to get things moving. So you want to be in the lookout for that notice. I would say if it doesn't happen by, you know, September, I would maybe follow up proactively. Maybe it just got lost for some reason. You just don't want to be surprised and have your mail shut down and then have a major scramble where you're running around getting 1583s filled out and trying to upload them. It's just a process that's going to be a challenge, but it's totally doable. This is going to be a challenge. The other part that is also challenging, while we're still on the topic of good news here, is updating IDs that have expired. So the USPS is saying that they will alert you when an ID has expired. Let's say someone's driver's license expires, but you're going to want to be keeping track of those IDs and knowing when they're expiring.
I want to interrupt you for a minute with a special offer. If you are an operator that is getting ready to launch, or your space is less than a year old and less than 200 members, Office R&D is piloting a program called Flex Startup Program, which allows you to save 50% on your first year with Office R&D Flex to help you grow your co-working space. As many of you know, I run programs that help operators launch. I run mastermind programs for operators that are in business and a community manager program. And we have lots of members that love using Office R&D. It's kind of an all-in-one platform that has fantastic analytics, meeting room management, lots of integrations, all the things, as I like to say. So it's a fan favorite of the Everything Coworking program members. So I'm excited that you get a chance to kind of get started with it at a discounted rate. So 50% off of your first year. You can learn more about the offer and sign up for a demo by going to everythingcoworking.com/ORND. That's everythingcoworking.com/ORND. We'll also throw that link in the show notes. So if you open your podcast app, you can grab the link right there.
So there isn't a database or any software that I'm familiar with yet. And maybe that's something that's built in some of the CRMs that are out there, but you want to make sure someone's driver's license expires, you want to get the new one, get that uploaded onto that CRD system for the USPS.
Okay. So if I get a new member, I need to have some system. It's a spreadsheet, it's a CRM, it's something where there's a field that has driver's license expiry, and I need to look at that every month. look ahead and get updated documents.
Yep. However
And
you want to
upload them
track it,
again.
right? And just,
Yep.
just when you receive the document initially, I think you want to have some internal system, simple system that you're doing some of the tracking here, because I would not rely on to date on the USPS systems to
That's
alert
what I'm
you.
thinking, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy, right? It's just an Excel
Yeah,
sheet or something.
exactly.
You look up monthly, or you just know when
Yeah.
we can't. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of folks have a spreadsheet even just to track, like, is this one of our our mailbox customers? Is it an anytime customer, etc. So even just putting it in there. So if it is an anytime customer, will you track the expiry and will there be a notification, or is that not in the system?
Yeah, it's our we haven't built that out yet, but that our plan is to build it out, right? To make this, we want to make this as easy as possible, because of course we're, this is a kind of a shared customer, if you will, right? And so we want to, and we're a software company, right? So we want to have these, tools available to make the process as simple as possible.
Got it. And
Okay,
then, go ahead. Yes, keep going, and then I'll ask my follow-up questions.
Yep. And then also the other piece that is new is providing a forwarding address that's been given by the renter or the mailbox provider. So it's, there's this rule that's kind of a pain, right? That when a mailbox closes, or when an address closes, if you will, that you have to hold the mail for 6 months. I hope everyone knows that, right? So you need to collect the mail and hold it for 6 months. And then if that recipient, the former customer, wants it forwarded to them, they, of course, have to pay for that to do it. You're under no obligation to send it for free. But that forwarding address needs to be captured by the USPS. They need to know where things are being sent, is really the bottom line, right?
So is that a field in their system? Like, is that when
it is? It's a field. It's a field in the 1583.
Oh, on the 1583. Okay, got it.
It's a field in the 1583. Yep. And so what our process is, if someone, we're not gonna make it a requirement, but we're gonna have the field available and recommend that they input a forwarding address. A lot of folks don't want to. I mean, they're having a virtual address because they want to mail
right.
on their
Well, so that's
phone.
a great point. So then, okay, but what happens if they cancel and the operator doesn't have a forwarding address?
You have to upload it. If mail forwarding is requested, you're gonna have to upload that address into the CRD platform, and there'll be a field for that.
So if they don't require forwarding, then you're not required to fill out that field.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's my understanding, right? Yep. So that's a little bit of a responding to the judge and not sure. But if they're not requesting mail to be forwarded anywhere, then why would you need to have a forwarding address? You don't know what it is, right?
Yeah. And to your point, like that, that may be one of the reasons people they want your address, not to share their address. So if just to clarify that rule, if someone has an address with a co-working space, they cancel the service, the co-working space operator has to hold the mail for 6 months.
Yes.
No forwarding, no action is requested. What do they do with the mail at the end of 6 months?
That's a good question. I think you can return to sender, give it back to the post office. I mean, you could even dispose of it. I don't think anything's going to come back to haunt you in that case.
Yeah. But we shouldn't be returning to sender throughout the 6 months. You're supposed to hold and wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're supposed to hold and wait.
And then if the customer is not responding to, can I have an address? Would you like to forward? This is the fee. Then return to sender, shred, whatever. Okay.
Yep. I mean, that's what you may want to ask your post office representative, but I think at that point I would not worry about it.
Okay. Got it.
And there are some, I know there are some agreements that folks have put together, trying to get out of that 6 month period.
Yep.
I don't know. I just don't think it's worth trying to be, tricky or fancy here, right? It's like follow the rules. It's such an integral part of the business offering that I just don't think you want to play around with it too much. Just operationalize it. It's not that much overhead. I know it's not sexy, but it's like managing mail it's not that hard. It doesn't take that much time. There isn't that much mail, and it's a great differentiator for all the co-working spaces, and can be a big problem if it's not managed well, because that's where a bad review comes in. Someone would be very upset if something isn't run properly there.
100%. Right.
Yeah.
Mail gets lost. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. There's only downside.
There's
right?
only downside. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I know, but yes, to remove the intimidation factor, that doesn't happen very often. The upside is far greater. And I think what you're saying is like, just figure out the process, make sure you have it all documented, because usually it's the community management team that's handling the mail, make sure they're well trained. But the revenue upside, I mean, it's the revenue upside, and it's just like, it's a service that a lot of people need. And it can be a lead gen for your space. It can be, you guys, I don't know if you're still running ads. You're running ads that I would see on Instagram for, like business identity. And I'm like, I love that term, like business identity. Yeah. I might be a freelancer. I might be whoever I am. I need a way to show up as a business. And one of those ways is to not have my house and all the data, that comes up if somebody Googles my home address on invoices, on government documents, whatever it is. So it's a great service.
Yeah.
And it can be a great revenue generator for our business.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it is true. I mean, we are signing up thousands of customers a month. Okay. I mean, it is a real service.
No, I love that you say that, because I still have a lot of people who are like, I don't understand, who needs this.
No. I mean, and it's like everyone, like people kind of know about it now, right? Like if they're starting a business, it's like, oh yeah, this is one of the things I need to get one of those virtual addresses. Now I anecdotally, when people ask me what I do, not long ago, people were like, oh, I don't get it. Now they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Maybe I should get that for my personal as well. It seems like it would make sense. So that's sort of the next thing we're hoping and expecting will come. But no, there's a big revenue stream here, thousands of dollars, a month. We have many operators in the 5 figures a month. It's it's real, and it adds value to the customer. So
yeah, I love it. I'm working with a group in Denver. They're developers, and they're creating a new kind of multi-purpose development, but it has a co-working space, and we were going through their ideal customer avatar. And one of their user segments is like people who live in Denver because they want to be able to like live in the mountains during the winter and then come back, and not like a full digital nomad sort of profile, but I want to have some flexibility. And so I need a consistent address, place to get packages. So we're thinking about like, they're going to have enough storage, but they're really thinking about that as like, okay, what's the package for them? What does that look like? Because it's so valid and relevant these days. Not in every market, but that's one kind of fun example.
It's off topic, and we could maybe another podcast another day, but I think this like flexible lifestyle is huge, right? And it's not like I want to go live in Portugal. It's I want to go. I mean, we're talking about summer. I went away on a trip with my family for a few weeks, and I was able to manage my business remotely. And I'm not going to move there anytime soon, but I just want to have the flexibility to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and that's very much what's happening. I think culturally. So
and people still have physical stuff that shows up. So a lot of stuff is online, and you pay your bills online, and some of those things, but there's still stuff that's very physical, and you need a place for it to go when you're not there.
You have to have it. Yep. And mail, by the way, physical mail is not going away anytime. So that like doesn't even, enter into our near term, like few years out profile of risk. Like we don't even really think about that. It's just how do we add more value around it?
Yep. 100%.
So getting back to this process,
yes,
it's a necessary evil. I think I know the USPS has very good intentions here. The process will improve. I think we will see better tools in the coming years around this overall. I think it's very valuable to have good ID verification for all kinds of reasons. Societal as well as running the business. And I would just urge everyone to look at the documentation. Again, it's a pretty quick read. It is a critical part of your business, and it's just a few pieces you just need to operationalize, and I think it'll be just fine.
Yeah, it's worth noting this is the USPS, so it doesn't apply to Canada, or we have a lot of Canadian listeners. So you have your own, requirements for managing mail. This is only a US policy change. So the 9 months to kind of get fully compliant, is that from the July 9th date? Do you know?
Yeah, good question. I was talking to some industry insiders, and I don't know that the clock has started ticking on that yet, but it's if it hasn't started officially, don't quote me on that, right? It's going too soon, right? It's like you got to get on it. The USPS gets that this is a big cumbersome project, and they're not looking to harm anybody here. They just want to get it right and get it going as soon as possible. So I would just say start getting it going as soon as possible.
Yeah. Put a system in place, put a goal in place with your team, get somebody turned over. Okay. So, and it's just required, because I'm thinking there will be operators who are like, oh, we have people who never get mail. Are they going to cancel when we reach out? Because now we need their ID and it's a pain. So are they just going to say, forget it, I'm just going to cancel? There could be some of that happens, but you got to do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just have to develop your own marketing strategy around that. Right. It's, you decide how you want to go after that.
Frame it.
Yeah, I'll just that's up to the individual. I would not. I would, though, from an operator perspective, I would get yourself signed up right away with the USPS. I would not mess around with that, because that's doable, and I would just get going on that. Get your own 1583. It's a 1583A. Is the form, and get that filled out, and that will have to be notarized and drop that off.
If you haven't already done that process. Or is it new? We don't have to go back the 1583A.
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to go back. Can I take that as a follow-up? I'm not positive on that, actually.
Yeah, I see. It says minor changes have been made to the 1583. See the updated 15. Yeah. Okay. Yes, let's take that as a follow-up. I need to read through this as well.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know that one for sure.
Are there any other sort of FAQs we should cover?
I don't think so. Let me just go through my notes. I talked about expired docs, forwarding addresses. Oh, I mean, if you're not already doing this has been in place a long time, but you still have to send a quarterly update to the USPS for all your current mailboxes, or I guess virtual customers or CMRA customers. In those that have been removed and added. So it's sort of, this is your constant list, and then new adds and removals. Yeah. Okay. So if you're not doing that, you want to do that as well. Because we get every now and then, I mean, so maybe once a month, we will get a reach out. Oh, the post office just showed up and they said, hey, I want to see all your 1583s, and I want to see all this, and they threaten to stop mail, and it can be problematic.
Yep. So does that have to be submitted or kept on file?
Submitted.
Like taken to the post office physically?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So in our platform, for example, you just press a button and it provides the provides the report.
Provides the printout. You just take it with you. Yep. Okay, great.
Yep, exactly.
That's a good reminder. Yeah, there's some good reminders in process here in looking through the updates. Okay, well, I think we'll send, so if I'm sure you're addressing these updates in your operator update newsletter. So we
certainly are. Yep.
If you're not subscribed, it's a great newsletter.
Thank you. It is. I read it. I'm like, oh, actually, this is pretty interesting. Sorry, just kind of kidding there. So I'm also, Jamie, we put some documentation together as well, and we'll talk about that offline, that I think will help you answer some things, because this is a big, it's a critical part of our business. Yeah. So I'm happy to provide whatever I can. And if people want to reach out to me directly for questions, I'm available as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Happy to pass questions along. If you're an Anytime customer already, you can reach out to their team, and we'll include the relevant links to the new forms and the read on the updates in the show notes as well. And the show notes, just a reminder, if you're especially on an iPhone, you can just click on those links right in the episode details. So really easy to access. Awesome. Okay. Well, yep. It's a little bit of work, but there's a lot of upside, and got to do it. So just make a process. Yep. weekly meeting with your team, just put it on the agenda and figure out how you're going to do it and let your team do it. And
Yeah.
Matt, thank you for
Exactly.
keeping us up to speed. Yeah, I'm going to share this with my community manager university group. That's what we have, a Slack group, and somebody started to ask questions,
Cool.
and I was like, I got to be on top of this. I got to call Matt. So thank you for taking the
Very
time to do
good.
this.
Thanks a lot again.
Yeah.
Always good to see you, Jamie. And we'll talk soon. See you at the GWA event.
Yep, we have to put in a plug. Matt is on the GWA board, the Global Workspace Association, and that is, I think, the third week in September. I need to book my flights and hotels and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
see
going
you
to be
there.
great. Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. Cool. All right. Okay. Bye.